This is the Purple Passion Project with host and clinical sexologist, Dr. Stacy Friedman. This is your go-to podcast for raw, real, and irresistibly juicy conversations about sex, intimacy, connection, and everything in between. Whether you're feeling a little stuck in your love life, curious about what turns you on, or just craving conversations that actually matter, you're in the right place. So now please welcome the host of the Purple Passion Project, Dr. Stacy Friedman.
What do you get when you mix purple, passion, and permission to be your true self? This podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Stacy, and this is the Purple Passion Project, coming to you live and unfiltered. It's the show where we talk sex, intimacy, connection, and everything underneath the surface, because let's be honest, small talk is boring and you're ready for the good stuff. So relax, drop your guard, get ready for some truth, laughs, and maybe some guests, especially for tonight, and a whole lot of passion, because tonight we are going to be introducing Susan Bratton, who is an intimacy expert to millions, and I mean millions. She's a best-selling author of 44 books and programs that turn sex into soul-connected pleasure, specializing in passionate lovemaking, powerful communication, orgasmic mastery, all of that juicy stuff. For over 20 years, she's guided over 300,000 readers through her newsletters, Better Lover and Longevity Wins. You've seen her on major news media and heard her on over 1,000 podcasts and summits. All of her information is going to be in the bio after in the show notes, so make sure you check a look for all of her connections on social media. She does talking about yoni massage, nipple-gasms. She blends pleasure-forward practices to cutting-edge regenerative science. And she's here to remind us that great sex is just as vital as sleep, nutrition, and exercise. So we are going to bring Susan on board. Hello.
Hi, Dr. Stacy. Great to be here. I was thinking that if you combined purple, what were your three things combined?
Purple, passion, and intimacy. It's all about sex.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and all roads lead to good sex, right? I'm so happy to be here. It's really nice to get to know you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a purple fanatic, and I figured what better way to express my three best pleasures is by having the word purple in there. So anyway, so I'm glad to have you on here, and I know that this is going to be a very juicy subject, so welcome.
Yeah.
What I want to do is focus on this podcast on turning on truths that men don't know.
Yeah.
And we want to talk a little bit about how we can get their partners to crave sex more, to not be saying no. And I know that that's one of your expertise. So when you have long-term relationships, we have a lot of times where women lose desire. And so why do you feel that some women stop craving sex as they're in these longer relationships?
Yeah, I think that probably the work of Dr. Beverly Sassen's been really helpful in having people understand that generally most men have very spontaneous desire. You know, they're testosterone dominant and they have good nighttime erections. They wake up with morning wood. It's very easy for them to kind of have an orgasm from intercourse. And they're often ready to go when they are aware that we're interested. You know, they have a really good responsive nature in that way. Where for the female-bodied of us, we have much slower arousal ladders. It takes a lot of heavy lifting to get us up on the first rung. We need our partner's help with it. We're not usually waking up spontaneously ready to go. And often for women, we have so much on our plates, the work we do out in the world, the work we have to carry at home. If we had a wife, honestly, that could help a lot. So, a lot of people are moving toward poly so they can divide and conquer.
Anything that works.
And because we have a 28-day cycle, sometimes we're hornier than others during the month. As our estrogen declines, even if our testosterone doesn't decline at such a rapid pace, it still declines as we age. We get bored with it. Also, I think our society feels like we feel like sex is intercourse. So everyone's very driven to just like do the deed.
Right.
And I love intercourse. As a matter of fact, I think one of the best areas of expertise that I have that's very unique to me is something that I call orgasmic intercourse, really leveling the playing field around how to make women come the whole time they're having intercourse, instead of striving for one orgasm during intercourse, which is frankly a very, very low bar and much more oriented toward what I would say is a male ejaculatory response. And so that, we kind of think that's what we're supposed to do, and it's not at all the way bodies work. So I think that those are a lot of the things. Estrogen, we don't walk in the world safe as estrogen dominant human beings. We have to worry about a lot more. It's a long time to get out of our head and into our bodies. And of course, we need more attention throughout the day. We need a lot of verbal.
We need the build up.
We need a build up. We need to know we're thought to be beautiful. We need encouragement and adoration. And, it feels for men like they take our lack of spontaneous desire as rejection, because that's what it would feel like for them.
Right.
If they were with, if in their body, that feels like rejection. And so they end up in a victimhood mindset. They stop doing things like all of the caretaking things that we need to feel like we're special and desired and wanted. And yes, we need to make our partners feel like they're desired and wanted too.
Of course.
But I have this very simple shortcut that often solves a lot of these issues. And it was not something I came up with. It is something that is something I was taught by one of my mentors. My main mentor is a woman named Dr. Patty Taylor. She's retired now, but she was the first person to ever get a PhD in human orgasm. And she created a practice called the expanded orgasm practice that was from a lineage called the Morehouse or extended massive orgasm technology that we use. And she wrote a program for me called the Seduction Trilogy, and it teaches men the 4 keys to seduction with integrity. Because a lot of times we think about seduction as manipulation because of pickup artists and things like that. But seduction is something that we need as women, and our partners need it too. We need to be seduced toward pleasure.
Right. It'll give us more desire to have sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's really this notion that there are 4 keys to seduction. They are small offers, vision, erotic vigilance, and vulnerability. And when men begin to understand this system, and one of the things that I love about teaching men is that men are really good when you give them a structure and you make it an easy structure or a checklist that they can follow, and it works. They'll use it over and over and over to great success. So not a day goes by, Dr. Stacy, that I don't get an email or a DM from one of my followers that says, "Thank you. I'm so glad I found you. I thought my wife and I were a lost cause, and she's blossoming sexually after 20 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage, 40 years of marriage." I love to create renaissance in people's sex lives, because it is never too late to have the hot sex that you either used to have or always wanted to have. There's one caveat, though, that I want to tell you.
Sure.
And that's that I say to men, usually the men that I'm talking to when I'm teaching how to seduce with integrity using the 4 keys to seduction, is that if she never liked sex with you, when you got married, it wasn't good. It's just you had hopes that you could make it better.
Hopes and dreams.
Then you need to go to a therapist. You need someone who can untangle what was trauma and repression, because that's not what I'm teaching here. I'm teaching
How to
you
get back.
how to get it going again, or get it going really good. If it's good, making it great. If it used to be good or great, making it good or great again.
Right, right. Yeah, no, that's amazing, because a lot of that information that you're sharing is going to help women who may not have that desire, that spontaneous desire, be able to build on that foreplay through the day, be able to build on the sensuality, the words that you said, the beautiful, you're this,
Encouragement,
the encouragement.
adoration.
Yeah. And then just being able to have better sex. Women are going to want to have more sex, because one of the reasons why a lot of women are not having sex is because they're not having good sex, and they don't either know how to share it with their partner, or that they're just kind of stuck in the middle. And so for them to reach out to somebody is so important. So what else can men understand better about female desire to lead them more to better pleasure?
Yeah. So the first thing is that she has as much erectile tissue in her vulvovaginal system as you do in your penis, but it's not in 3 straight tubes that get hard really fast. It's in a bunch of nooks and crannies that take about 20 minutes for the blood flow to seep in. So for her to get an erection, sex won't feel good. And by sex, I don't mean intercourse. I'm going to say it again.
Right.
I mean kissing, breast play, full body touch, manual pleasuring, oral pleasuring, and penetrative sex. So when I say it, I'm talking about you need to learn how to be a good, well-rounded lover.
Yes.
And that if your wife isn't wife or girlfriend, I'm assuming you're in a partnered relationship. Let's just, if you're not, you can still use this when you are. But if your partner isn't coming pretty much the whole time you're inside them, then you've penetrated them too quickly, and they haven't had enough warm up, and they don't have their lady boner. And so it's just not going to feel good to them. So when guys say to me, what's the number one sex technique you can, and they always do this. It's like, what's the one thing you can tell me?
Yeah, no, there's not
going to make
one
me like, well, it doesn't actually work that way. Like maybe you could learn 200 or 300 things and start to become a good lover. You've got to learn oral pleasuring techniques, manual pleasuring techniques, yoni massage, where her genitals are, how they work, how to adore and appreciate her, how to offer her pleasure, all of these kinds of things. But the fun thing is that they're all really fun to learn, right? And so this is great. So you are you're currently getting the sex that is the level of skill at which you are.
Right.
And that's hard for men to hear, because men, being testosterone dominant, they overestimate how good they are in bed, and they watch porn, which gives them a really false sense of what actual everyday women really desire. That's just what you jerk off to. That's not masturbate to. That's not, what women
not reality
want.
Not reality.
Not I mean, it might be a moment of fantasy here and there during your sex life, but what I'm really interested in teaching people are the techniques that create passionate, highly orgasmic, co-creative ecstasy. Woo! That's where I'm going, right? That's what I'm looking for. So, yeah. So really slowing down is the trick. That one thing, that one weird trick. What is it? Slow down, turn around, and come back and get us, because we're way back here waiting patiently the 20 minutes for our clitoral erections to form, so that we have enough surface area sending enough signals of sensation to our brain, which is what actually processes pleasure. We wouldn't expect you to have a good time with a flaccid penis, though there are experts out there who love to talk about, how flaccid penis sex is nice too. And I'm always of the mind that you should actually just try to repair it through regenerative therapies, sexual biohacking, using a vacuum erection device, getting Gaines wave treatments, taking nitric oxide, getting off of Viagra, getting your ass out of your chair and starting to move, eating some vegetables. Right. When 20-year-olds are asking me about their erectile dysfunction, and I say, how many vegetables do you eat a day? And they're like, I don't eat any vegetables. I'm like, that'd be a place to start.
Yeah, start with your health. Start with your health for
Because
sure.
you can't get an erection without nitric oxide. Nitric oxide comes from vegetable matter. So
Well, eat your veggies, men. Eat your
gotta,
veggies.
You got to eat your veggies for your boners. So I think that the slowing down is a really important thing. And I think it's very important for women to understand that it's going to take that long. Even if you have lovemaking every day, let's say you go on vacation, you have lovemaking every day. Maybe you can shave 5 minutes off of it because you've been re-engorging that tissue very consistently. But generally, couples are having lovemaking once or twice a month to once or twice a week. And so the tissue gets completely deflated and it needs to be completely reinflated. And engorgement, or the reinflation through blood flow of that tissue, is the single thing that creates the pleasure. Your body, your brain can't even register pleasure if it can't get the sensation through the neural pathways. And if it's this big and there's only this much attenuation of sensation, she's not going to feel anything. And when couples, they rush to sex and they think that penetration is what they're supposed to be doing, it's just a pathway to sexless marriage, really.
Right.
So making small offers is very, very important. And that's the fundamental of the 4 keys to seduction. I also want to say that I have everything that I'm going to be talking to you about with regard to the 4 keys to seduction. I have in a downloadable PDF called More Sex, More Often, with more examples of these small offers and explaining it all again to you. So yeah, you can listen to that now. You can listen to us now, knowing that you can get the download at More Sex More Often at the end of the show, so that you have it and you can try it out and see for yourself that it will work with every woman. Because what's interesting about women is, although every woman likes different types of things, like one woman I know, her husband and she likes about 20 or 30 minutes of very shallow penetration, and altering that with spanking and impact play.
Okay.
Another woman really likes deep penetration very early on and riding cowgirl, and she likes the cervical stimulation, which is interesting because it activates oxytocin very quickly that way. And so she likes that. So women are wildly different in the approach and the stimulation that they like, but they are wildly the same in the fact that the neural pathways, the mechanoreceptors, the Ruffini nerve endings, the Pacinian corpuscles, the, did I say mechanoreceptors, the somatosensory cortex, they work the same. We have the same operating system. We may have developed a predilection for specific pathways that tend to work for us, which is where you get into the guy that says, my wife will only have sex with me in the following way once a week if the lights off.
What they want.
And I'm like, well, okay. That's okay. Give her that, but ask her if she would be willing to understand that orgasmically activating all the other tissue will give her many more pathways to orgasm, and that you can just keep bringing more pathways online as you age. Your orgasms will get better, sex will get better, your responsiveness will get better, the intensity of your orgasms will get better. Sex is a learned skill. Procreation we can do without, we know where to stick things. That's not, making a baby isn't sex. That's procreation. Making love is a series of learned skills.
Well, I wanted to hear a little bit about the small offers technique, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, what is this technique that's going to help them say, help them say yes. And they, it helps them not be rejected. So give us a little information about the small offers technique that you're talking about.
Yeah. So small offers is that what most men do is they say, do you want to have sex?
Right.
And she says no, because she's not engorged. She's in her mind. She's not in her body. Right. She's not relaxed. She's still on her to-do list.
Aroused.
It hasn't been great. And so she's a no. So that's a big offer. So just make smaller offers. Smaller offers are, hey, would you like to have a glass of wine and tell me about your day while I rub your feet? Yeah, actually, I would. Would you like to go sit on the deck and watch the sunset and snuggle under a blanket. Yeah, I would. Right. So what does your wife or your partner need to get out of her head and into her body? How can you help with the heavy lifting of her arousal? The other day, my tummy wasn't feeling well. I'd made homemade peach pancakes and I ate too many of them too fast. They were really good. And I hardly ate any wheat or anything. I can't eat. Oh God, they were so good. The peaches were so. And I don't eat any bread generally, and they were gluten-free pancakes. But man, it was like a gut bomb in my stomach.
Yes.
And I wanted to have a date with my husband, and we had this kind of window to do it, but I was not ready. My belly hurt. And I was like, and my husband, he really likes words of adoration and appreciation too. I'm not the only one. And I said, hey, what do you think about lying down in bed? And I'll give you some pain cream. I like this THC infused pain cream. It's a topical cream that works really well with body pain, and it doesn't get you high. It's really nice. If you live in a state that has dispensaries and you have any kind of topical pain, it's very nice to get a topical THC infused pain cream. So he rubbed pain cream and gave me a belly massage while I extolled his virtues and told him all the things I loved about him today. And I have this little game that I teach couples to play called 3 Things I Love About You. And it's an on-demand game. And essentially your goal is to try to think of new things you love about your partner every time you play it. And you would be surprised at how easy it is once you learn how to do it and you kind of get in the headspace of it. And my man really likes hearing that he's doing a great job with things and that he's really awesome. We all do.
We all do.
Yes. And so I told him how great he was while he rubbed my belly. And then I was ready for him to just pet my yoni. And I'm going to use the word yoni, Y-O-N-I. I really think it's a pretty word for the female vulvovaginal system. Mm-hmm. A lot of women call it their flower, or they call it their kitty, or what have you. They're nice words too. What'd you say?
Or the vajayjay.
The thing I don't like about vagina is that it's only the internal mechanism.
Right, it's the canal.
All of the external parts, which are actually where almost all of the erectile tissue is. It's wrapped around the vagina, but it's not the vagina. Right. The vagina is it can be activated really, really well. And when you get it engorged and get the blood flow and the uterus pulls up and the cervix kind of pops, it makes it spacious and it really begins to activate it all, which is great. But I feel like it's a little bit of an older word for the female genital system because it's very like penis and vagina oriented. And as I said, I love intercourse, but I like to expand the playing field. And so expanding the playing field, to me, using the word yoni, Y-O-N-I, which is a tantric lovemaking word for the entire female genital system, that also has a connection to spirit, to heart connection, to consciousness.
Gives it a different image or a different feeling.
Yeah. It's more inclusive and connected. And because I like the kind of sex that's super hot, super orgasmic, and very heart connected and very passionate, and that's the techniques that I write and teach, yoni's a nice word. And so I said to my husband, I think I'm ready for you to touch my yoni now, but I'd really like you to just start from the outside and pet her from the top down. I'd just like you to pet her, and I really want my outer lips and my mons to just be massaged and loved. And I'd like to hold your penis in my hand, which the male word is lingam, which is also a nice word. I'd like to hold you in my hand, and I had a fever blister, so I couldn't make out with him. So he kissed my eyelids, my cheeks, my neck. He told me beautiful things he loved about me while I stroked him and he stroked me. And then that got me all turned on. Yeah. And I said, oh, I'd like to get on top of you now.
You forgot you had a bellyache.
Bellyache went away. And I'd love you to suck on my breasts while I'm, grinding on you. And that was nice because we couldn't make out. So I was like, I got to get something in his mouth. And so that was really nice too. And this is a series of small offers that starts with my belly hurts. And it's a
Right.
workaround for stuff that's a problem, right? There's always something. And that's the other thing that my husband and I think about too. One of the books that I wrote, you mentioned, I've written 44 books and programs. 10 of
That's
them are
it.
the work of my mentors. 34 are my own. I'm a publisher of passionate lovemaking techniques. And one of the things that I wrote was something called the magic pill method. And it's really what happens with couples when they can't have intercourse for some reason. It could be she had a hysterectomy or breast cancer, he has erectile dysfunction or whatever, depression, they're moving, somebody got sick, you broke a leg, whatever. People will stop just having any sex at all because it's
Right.
not and that's like, oh
Not
my
into
God, you guys, you're leaving so much pleasure on the table. Learn yoni and lingam massage, learn oral pleasuring, practice your 69.
Right.
People who say to me, oh, I don't like 69. I'm like, because you suck at it, just practice. It's
Right. You
fabulous.
can do it sideways. It doesn't have to be on top. You could switch one time on top, one time on the bottom. I mean, there's so many different ways to get into so many different positions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when I wrote the magic pill method, I wrote it because I sent out an email to my newsletter, and I've been writing a sex tips newsletter for 2 decades.
Wow.
And so I have a very large readership, and I send it out, betterlover.com. I send it out 2 times a week with hot sex tips in it.
I get them. They're hot.
Oh, good.
Of course.
Dr.
I've been
Stacey.
getting them for a long time.
And it was funny because I said, I'm not going to be able to reply to everyone because I'm going to get too many responses, but tell me what it is that's holding you back from having the sex you wish that you used to, or that you wish you could. And I don't want to, if you don't have a partner, that's not what I'm asking. This is partnered. If you have a partner, but you're not having the
Right.
sex you want, what is it? And it was 80% physical issues and 20% betrayal. And the betrayal I set aside because that is good to talk to therapists about. But the physical issues, all you need is a workaround and get out of the mentality that if you can't have intercourse, you can't have sex, because sex, again, is this whole playing field. And with the magic pill method, it's really this process where it walks you. Guys don't feel like they can talk about things with women because their partners women have a little bit more communication abilities,
Right.
just the way our brains are. Luann Brisendine's books, the female brain and the male brain, were really insightful around the fact that men aren't on a level playing field with women talking about things like sex.
Right.
It's
Generally.
harder for them to put into words their emotions and to process things. Generally, everything's on a bell curve. Some couples, he's better than she is at it. And so I said, all right, I'm going to write you this little workbook, and I'm going to give you these specific little tasks to do. And the very first one, and it's at magicpillmethod.com. So don't worry about writing this down either. It's a freebie. It gives you this idea of what did you used to do that you could still do? What did you used to do that you can no longer do? What have you never done that you'd like to do? And then what would it take to repair the problem that's holding you back? Is there, like, if it's erectile dysfunction or, lichen sclerosis or vaginal atrophy, or there's a lot of things that can simply just be fixed. If someone makes a damn appointment and goes and takes their partner there and gets it done, like, do I struggle?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So that I think is really interesting, because then you're expanding your playing field. And this idea of what my husband and I did was, I wasn't ready for sex. I had a bellyache, but I know once I lay down in bed with him, we'll figure out how to get me there. And if we don't, he won't be mad, because
That's the thing.
8 times out of 10, it turns into a little something more or a lot more or super hot, because I'm just not where he is. But he knows that's nothing wrong with me, and I don't put any pressure on myself. So what happens with women is, because all we've been fed is the cultural narrative of male desire and arousal response, we think we don't have a libido. Our libido is broken. Our desire isn't there. girl, it's all right there. You
We
just
got
never
it.
got what you needed.
Yeah, we got it.
So starting with those small offers and being patient with yourself is very important. Now, the other three keys, vision, vulnerability, and erotic vigilance, work into what kind of offer are you going to make? You have to be paying attention to where she's at in the moment to make the right offer, the right sized offer. So you don't make too big an offer. Now, I know how to make offers to my own partner. I don't even need him to make the offers. I can tell him what might feel good. Or sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what I want. I'm just like, I'm so grumpy. A good orgasmic session would help, but I'm like,
I don't know what I
really
want.
cranky. Will you run me a menu? And he'll be like, sure, babe. And then he'll assess what's going on with me. Is she hungry? Is she angry? Is she hangry?
Right. I'm usually hangry. Yeah.
Hangry. I got a lot less hangry when I stopped eating all the wheat. It took that away from me.
Absolutely.
I used to be hangry all the time, and then I got off all that carb, and it really helped a lot. That's why I think the pancakes were a gut bomb for me, because I'm not used to it. So where is she is erotic vigilance. You're either in flight, fight, freeze, or fornicate, right? And we're usually not at fornicate. So where is she, and what's it going to do to help move her out of whatever it is she's in? And when you begin to think about erotic vigilance that way, and you begin to make those tiny little, and a lot of guys are going to be, if I make her that, she's going to know I'm trying to get sex with her. Well, yeah, because you've now had this conversation about the heavy lifting. It's not her fault. There's nothing wrong with her. Her libido's not broken. Her desire's not flatlined. You just didn't know what you didn't know. And now you're going to make these offers, and you're going to make her unlimited offers for pleasure that she can say yes or no to. If she says no, the offer was too big. If she says yes, you know you made a right-sized offer. You get better at making the right-sized offers over time.
And that'll help build for when she's ready to say yes.
And what's nice is that 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times, maybe 6 times when you start, but maybe 7, then 8, then 9, you end up with hot sex because you helped her. I always think about my arousal ladder as being this super steep ladder that then kind of levels out. And then it's like stairs, and then the stairs become really easy, and then it's an escalator. That's what women's arousal is like, where men's, the woman is a rheostat and the man is a light switch. We've heard these things,
Right.
The woman is an instant pot. It takes, or what's the other thing? Crock pot, and a man's an instant pot, or whatever you want to do, a microwave. But it's just how it is. There's nothing abnormal about it. Nobody's wrong and nothing is broken. It just takes learning how to make the right size offers. Then you go into, okay, now I'm tuning into her. Where is she? What would help her get out of her head and into her body and relax? Because my husband, his understanding is, I got to get behind her and lift her to the first rung of the arousal ladder. And then I got to help her up a few more rungs, and then she can start climbing herself. And he is perfectly willing to do that heavy lifting every single time. And he doesn't take it like he did anything wrong if at the end of it all I go, I can't get there, baby. Will you just tuck me in? Because I love it.
Take it personally.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, sometimes you're just not, feel you're tired or whatever, but you tried.
Yeah.
You get points for trying every time.
Exactly. And that trying is going to help you. If it didn't happen that day, it's going to help you the next day, where you're going to be like, gosh, you know what? There was no pressure. There was no expectation. Yeah. I was able to say no without getting into an argument or anything like that. So the next day, when those little things, those small offers happen again, you might be more ready.
Yes.
And that's what you need to do.
I think there's another thing too I want to tell you, Dr. Stacy, right here. And that is that I would never approach my wife expecting that I'm going to ejaculate inside her. That's not her responsibility. Your ejaculations are your responsibility, and you can ejaculate anytime you want to, and you masturbate all the time. So just, if she can't get there,
Right. Use your hand.
Use your hand or your stroker or whatever. Fine. It's not her job.
Right.
That's not her job. Your job is to give her incredible pleasure such that she's begging you to be inside her so that she can have tons of orgasms for you and with you.
Absolutely. And on that note, we're just going to take a quick 1-minute commercial break and we'll be back to hear some more. Be right back.
If you enjoy these podcasts with Dr. Stacy, imagine the results you can get from a personal coaching session. As a clinical sexologist and certified sex coach with over 2 decades of experience, Dr. Stacy helps people just like you reignite passion, explore their desires, and break through blocks that may be holding you back, solo or with a partner. Whether you're struggling with communication, desire mismatch, performance anxiety, or simply want to feel more confident and connected in your sex life, Dr. Stacy is here to help. She offers a complimentary 15-minute consult so you can see if working together feels right. Visit drstacyfriedman.com to schedule your free call today, and let's take your passion to the next level.
So we are back with Susan Bratton, and we are talking about a lot of small offer techniques and some other things to help our partner be ready. And so you were talking about the 4 keys to seduction.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know how you integrate that as a system to be able to help everything get better over time.
That is a fantastic next question. Thank you. You're leading everything so well, and I really appreciate that. I can tell you've done this a few times.
Oh, maybe a few.
So we've talked about the small offers as the core concept. We've talked about erotic vigilance, really tuning into where she is emotionally and physically. Is your offer going to be, can I cut up some chunks of cheese and get you a glass of Chardonnay? It may be that, right?
Right.
So that's good too. And then the next one is really vision. And vision is that masculine sexual leadership. You have to remember that women in our society have been shamed and repressed about our sexuality. We've gotten very little sex education beyond fear-based abstinence education. We've often never even looked at our genitals, nor do we understand the names of our genital structures, nor do we understand engorgement or any of the things that we've been talking about.
There's no education out there. It's not enough education.
It's what we do, right? That's why people are listening to and watching us right now. And we've been shamed of being too slutty, or been called a whore, or we've been traumatized, or we've been made fun of, or whatever. But what happens in a vacuum of lack of information is that it creates fear.
Yeah.
So you have to have a very tender heart for your woman. Remember also that pornography is for the male gaze. It's not at all what women are looking for generally.
Right.
And everything we've seen on movies and television, there is spontaneous desire. He rips her pants off. He throws her on the bed. He plunges inside her. She has a
She's ready to
orgasm.
go.
He's never touched her breasts. He's
Right.
never kissed her. I mean, the mouth, the breasts and nipples and the genital are a locked system of pleasure to get the release and the let down that gets the juices running. Women say, I'm so dry. Yes, of course. The vaginal mucosal lining, it thins, and you have to think about your genitals like sponges. It's all sponges in there. And when the vaginal lining, which is in and of itself like a little sponge, when it gets thin, it doesn't hold as much lubrication.
Right.
And so when she's low on nitric oxide and she doesn't eat her leafy green vegetables, she can't get the blood flow into her pelvis. It doesn't seep down through the vaginal lining. It doesn't wet the walls. The walls can't hold as much moisture as they used to. And she has lubrication issues. She also has thinning of the tissue, which can make sex intercourse and insertion painful. And so she's nervous. She's in her mind. She's got, she's just like really far away from wanting sex.
It.
And that's normal. But with regenerative therapies, with hormone replacement, whether that's a vaginal topical serum or a systemic replacement or both, which is what I use, you can regenerate that tissue and it can be literally juicier than it's ever been. At 64, I'm more orgasmic and I have more lubrication than I have ever had in my life. Sex gets better with age. Sex is for old people.
Well, especially because we're able to communicate more. We don't give a crap what other people are thinking. We want to just do what's best for us and our partner. Yeah. And people need to be more open-minded about going to get that support, because people are not getting that support that they need. People come to me all the time and they're like, oh, well, I'm going through menopause, or I'm dry, or I'm like, well, have you gone to the doctor to get some support? Right. No, I don't know if I want to do all that.
Right. It's so easy. There's a topical serum that I really like. I'll give you a link for it. I can have some sent to you if you want to. It's Globulo. Have you heard about it?
Globulo? No, I have not.
I love this. It is, the serum itself is so nice. Let me tell you what's in it. It's at getglowbelow.com. It has shea butter, sunflower oil, almond oil, estriol, and estradiol, the two good estrogens.
Yeah.
It has cocoa butter, which your vagina loves because it has oleic acid in it, which is what your good microbiome wants to have for breakfast. A little bit of beeswax for it stays in and on.
Right.
Vitamin E and hyaluronic acid, and it is certified organic. Like, this
sounds beautiful.
It is lovely. It feels great. It adds the estrogen back in. So yeah, you can go and get a, estrogen patch or estrogen cream from your pharmacy. And if it's covered under your health insurance, that's great. But these serums are lovely too. And I really like them a lot. So remind me and I'll introduce you and get some sent to you. But I think that that's very important. And when you are thinking about what your offers are going to be, you're paying attention to her. Now, your next step is this masculine sexual leadership, this vision. What could you do? And I doubt that a lot of your viewers have had a date that started off with, would you give me a tummy rub while I stroke you?
I doubt that.
And tell you how amazing you are as a husband, right? So it's this idea that your vision is leadership, and it's having a lot of really hot, sexy ideas. Now wait, because the minute I say that, many men are like, she'll never let me tell her. She'll be a no to everything. She won't like it. And this is where I teach men some of the bedroom communication skills that make it really easy for him. For example, one of my favorite strategies is to give your woman a yoni massage. Just offer her unlimited yoni massages. Can I show you a couple of tools that I like?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. There are
visual.
Me too. There are two tools that I really like a lot for yoni massage. This is one, and this is the other. This is called, there's two, this is the one I want. This is called the Enhance, and this is called the Queen. Now, they're at drivedesire.com, so don't worry if you don't have to Google them. You can find it easily. But what I like about these are they're manual vulvovaginal massagers.
For the whole area.
You want to get the mons, because that's how the blood flow gets into the sponges. You want to get the outer labia because the clitoral legs are underneath there and they need to plump up like little balloons. And you have the clitoral hood and shaft and the tip. You have the inner labia and you have the inside called the vestibule. And all of that wants to be pleasured before anything is ever touched directly on the tip of the clitoris or inside the vaginal opening. And there are two different types of women, and I happen to be both simultaneously. So the two types of women are I'm delicate, I don't like too much sensation, I've got kids in the house, I don't want them to hear anything, I'm sensitive to noise, I'm a highly sensitive person, and that's what the Enhance is great for. I could turn this on to a level 11 and stick it right on the microphone, and you won't hear it. The other one is for I'm the Hitachi magic wand girl that needs the plug-in high-powered one. You might as well bring me a chainsaw battery because
I'm there with you.
And so that woman, she likes this. This queen has something called pulse plate technology. And what it was originally designed for were men who had intractable, non-reparable, not reversible erectile dysfunction. And they made this plate that put pulsations into the erectile tissue of the penis to create an orgasm without erection. Wow. And they brought it into a vulva massage tool that deeply penetrates into those mechanoreceptors, those corpuscles, those nerve endings to the pudendal nerve, sending the signals to the brain to send the blood flow down, expand the tissue, make it feel really good. And most couples like them both because here's how women work. Some days we're kitty cats and some days we are lionesses, and we never know what day it's gonna be. Is it gonna be kitty cat day or lioness day? And are we gonna start out as a kitty cat and turn into a lioness? Probably. Right. And so depending on how I feel that day, I have my husband use different toys. He'll apply a lot of really good lubricant, and I like CBD based lubrication. And the reason that I do is it relaxes, it uses the pleasure healing pathway. And what I love about it is that the vaginal tissue has tons of endocannabinoid receptors in it. It's highly receptorized. That's not a word, I made that up. And so it's just got a lot of receptors. I just made it up. And there are two lubes I like. I've got one up here. Let me grab it.
While you're reaching for those lubes, what I was going to say is that a lot of people don't realize that we had kind of touched on it before, but the clitoris is not just that little being. Right. And it has the whole sides there by the vulva and the lips and everything. So that way, when you are using one of those toys, you're reaching all of these pleasure points.
Exactly. You got to bring the blood flow into all the nooks and crannies. Right. And so manual massage is good. These are my two. Let me know if you want me to send these to you. This is nude.
I will never say no.
Okay, good. Great. Yeah, just remind me. Yes. Nude Pleasures. Mm-hmm. And this is a Florida-based company down by you. And it's CBD and essential oils in MCT oil that I love. And this is the pleasure protocol. And it actually has 3 components to it, which is interesting. It has, now all of this is at drivedesire.com because I always put all the stuff I talk about in one place because people are like, what was that thing? God darn it, where was it? In this particular set, which this is their little sample set, you can also get larger versions of it. It comes with little cocoa butter melts that you can pop up into the vaginal canal. They melt up in there and give you really if you are thin tissued, lubrication challenged, the melts are incredible. Then there's Awaken Arousal Oil that you put on the outer vulva. First, just lay a thin layer on. It's got the CBD in it that awakens the brain to vulva connection. And then this is the sex oil, so you can add as much lubrication on top as you want. And what's interesting about both of these lubricants is that when you go to Target or Walmart or CVS or Walgreens and you look at the lube aisle, lubes are now the new ultra processed product. It used to be that they had aloe vera and jojoba oil and all these wonderful things, but now it's all been replaced by synthetic chemical stuff.
People are getting irritated and not able to use a lot of the stuff.
If you wouldn't put it in your mouth, why would you use it on your genital mucosal tissue?
Right.
So these are the two products that I currently recommend and have had a lot of happy followers, really glad to have them. And they're not psychoactive, and they can ship to 48 states.
Wow.
So that's nice too.
Yeah, I love the idea of the cocoa butter, because I know that even when I was pregnant, I remember I was rubbing cocoa butter on your skin, because your skin thins out and it gets, so the cocoa butter idea is really great. I love that. So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that it could help a lot of people. Absolutely. So I'm not even taking another break because I'm loving our conversation.
Oh, no, take a break.
No, I'm not. I don't want to.
All
I'm
right.
going to keep talking. We're doing great here. So, we want to be able to also talk about the secret to making a woman crave sex more the longer she's with you, because in long-term relationships, obviously, we can keep using some of these techniques, but what is something else that you might recommend for couples?
Well, it's perfect because we were talking about yoni massage.
Right.
And breast pleasuring. And these are really, really nice new things that you can try.
Okay.
You had said something really smart too, Dr. Stacy, in the beginning. You were talking about try a new position for 69. If that didn't work, try side by side, laying on your sides. Variety and novelty are very important. And when you're dealing with a woman who's had a lot of fear, a lot of pain, a lot of repression, you have to take real baby steps with her.
Yeah.
That woman who's like, this is the only way we're having sex once a week, lights off. She's a tough nut to crack, but you can do it by explaining these things that you've learned to her, which are, look, I want to activate more pleasure areas and expand the palette of pleasure I'm providing for you. And so when you're thinking about expanding desire, you're creating trust and safety, and you're adding desire, you're adding novelty and variety, but it has to be small offers. She may not even be ready for a yoni massage because she's never looked at her vulva. She thinks it doesn't look good. She's embarrassed about it.
Not connected to it. Yeah.
So get out a mirror and say, I'd like to show you how beautiful your yoni is to me. Let's look at it together. I'm going to touch the different parts, and you can tell me, do you like the way it feels when I touch it or not? Because what you'll find, there was a very interesting study done. This is kind of coming from my work with orgasmic activation and orgasmic cross training, where a nurse practitioner had, I think it was 41 women, and she touched them on their mons, on their breasts and nipples, on their mons, on their clitoral hood, on their clitoral tip, on their labia, the opening to their vagina, and asked, what do you feel? And they said all sorts of things, but one of the things my brain is really good at is looking at a vast amount of data and netting it into simple terms. And I read every single response for every single touch. And I went, oh, okay, there's 4 things here. They're either feeling pain, they're feeling shame, they're feeling numbness, or they're feeling pleasure. And what was really interesting was that more women felt pleasure, 50 something, low number, percent, felt pleasure being touched in the vaginal opening. Only 40% felt pleasure being touched on the clitoral structure, which has even more nerve endings, 10,000 nerve endings. And most of them felt pain, shame, and numbness everywhere else. And that's because they've never had a loving, trustworthy person can tell them that it's possible to transform this pain and shame and numbness into pleasure and to activate all these different tissue cellular signals to the brain, and that the brain needs the blood flow and needs the touch to wake it up for you to feel it. There's nothing wrong with her. She can come 20 different ways. And so easing her into the willingness to look at her vulva, to have a yoni massage, to try a toy on her vulvo-vaginal system, to understand that there's nothing wrong with her. When you ease her in that way, she will slowly be open. Another way to do it is to once you get her to the point where you can touch her and she's not embarrassed and she understands how beautiful she is to you and how her genitals are beautiful to you, because our genitals are beautiful. I hear from women all the time, you know, I'm 54 and I'm getting back out into dating and I'm really embarrassed because I think, what if my yoni looks old? And I'm like,
what if my lips are hanging? What if it's floppy? What if it's...
That's what they look like. They look floppy. Men like floppy looking lips. It grips their penis. It wraps around it. It feels
gorgeous.
They want to frolic in the hanging gardens of Babylon. Just because all they see are little porn things doesn't mean that's what they want in their real woman. They like what we look like. And our yonis really don't age. The only thing that really ages about them is that we get gray pubic hair.
I was going to say the hair.
And you know what? You could either shave it all off.
Right.
You could dye it if you want to. You could embrace your grays. You could, you know, just be who you are and enjoy how beautiful your body is and that it's just so spectacular.
Well, I think we also need to, I don't mean to interrupt, but we also need to do it on our own for people that maybe are not even in relationships, is form that love for our yoni by ourselves and do the mirror exercises on our own. So that way, when you do get into a relationship, you have that connection, that better connection with yourself. Because it's important.
Yeah, I was 42 years old before I ever looked at my yoni in a mirror. And that's what got me into this whole thing, was that I wasn't having orgasms from intercourse. I didn't want to have sex with my husband. I'd been dutifully allowing him to masturbate inside me for 12 years. And I don't want to do it anymore. And that's what happens with most women. It's just like not good for them, because what were we? The blind leading the blind behind closed doors. We just didn't know what we didn't know. That's what set me on the journey to dedicate my life, not to being a therapist and fixing couples' problems, but to being an opportunist and creating erotic play dates that couples could understand that each time they try something new, they're creating a more solid, intimate connection that's leading them to a longer, healthier, happier life than their counterparts who give it up. Because when you extend your sex span, you extend your lifespan and your health span.
And your happiness.
Yes. And your happiness span.
And your happiness span. We're getting ready to run out a little bit of time, but I do want to ask one more question about, you had mentioned there's some brand new clitoral anatomy information that you might have and how it impacts arousal. So I wanted to kind of see what information that is, and then you can let us know afterwards how we can find you and how everyone can get in touch with you.
Yeah. Well, what I want to explain is that this erectile tissue and this engorgement that we've been talking about, where's my banana? Here we go.
Banana.
I've got my banana. So if you imagine this as a penis, then about half of the penis sticks out of the body and about half of it goes down and in towards your testicles, almost like a tongue. It looks like a tongue in there. And the whole penis is mostly spongy tissue. There's the skin, the tunica albuginea, some of the nerves, the urethral canal, out of which your semen and your ejaculate expel. But it's pretty much a sponge. That's why it can go from so little to so big, because it fills up with blood.
Right.
I peeled this banana and took out all that spongy tissue, and I turned it into a teardrop. I made it like a circle that came to a point. That's how much erectile tissue we have in our yoni.
Right.
And it's in the clitoral shaft, the clitoral arms, the clitoral legs, those little punching bags under the labia. It's in the urethral sponge, which is the one you've got, the tube you've got running down your penis that your ejaculate and your urine come out of. We have that right inside our little labia. Our female ejaculate and our urine come out of it right there. That's the urethral exit. And all women can ejaculate, all women can urinate, just like men. We have the same parts.
Same parts.
And underneath that is the vaginal pocket. It's like a flat pocket. It's not an inside out penis. It's flat. And underneath that flatness is there's a urethral sponge on the top, and there's a perineal sponge on the bottom. So now if you think about it, the entire vagina is wrapped with a bracelet of erectile tissue that when it's plumped up and you put a penis or a toy in a vagina, now it feels really good. But what the vagina wants as well is it wants not for you to go all the time. It wants you to stroke through the vaginal mucosal lining to her guts, basically, to her pelvic bowl.
Stroke it through.
And that's how you activate her vaginal, cervical, deep spot, G-spot orgasms. And so you're not doing this and ejaculating. You're using that penis to stimulate all of the tissue in there. You're using it like a pool cue or a gun whale. You're using it like a tongue. You're connecting your heart to it. You're not just thrusting in and out. You're using shallow strokes, deep strokes. You know, you're moving her on you instead of moving you in her. You're doing a lot of different strokes that are all learned skills that will make her have orgasms from intercourse super easily.
Okay.
Let's go have some sex now.
Whew, it's a hot one. So anyway, this has been really, really a very great conversation, and I could probably stay on for another hour and chat with you, and I know that we got to go, but you do have a special gift for our listeners, and it's an ebook with the small offers technique. I wanted to put your banner up so people know where they can go on. For the people that can't see it, it's moresexmoreoften.com, and it will be in the show notes. So give us any more information you want about, you know, the places that we could find you, and if there's anything else that you're offering.
Yeah. The other things I mentioned were drivedesire.com for any of the items I mentioned. So you can find those. And betterlover.com is where my newsletter is. And thank you so much for being on my newsletter. I appreciate it. It's a labor of love, which I enjoy so much.
Absolutely. No, I've been on there for a very long time, but thank you so much for sharing your brilliance and reminding us that intimacy is not just about sex. It's about creating the safety, which is important, the desire and passion that could last a lifetime. And what you're given today, the small offers technique, it's that kind of knowledge that truly is going to change relationships and help bring about that intimacy. So we really appreciate it, and I'm really glad that you were able to be here.
Thanks,
so we're
Dr.
going to take this off here, and we will see you next time. And definitely sign up for her newsletter because it is very juicy, as she said. And thanks again. I appreciate it. So anyway, everybody, this is it for this episode of the Purple Passion Project, where we keep it real with just the right amount of spice. And we got a lot of great spice today. So if today something stirred in you, just let it. And if you loved what you heard, subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms and on my YouTube at Dr. Stacey Friedman. If you're ready to go deeper, go on to all of my social media at Dr. Stacey Friedman for resources, tips, a place to find adult products, or just for personal support. So until next time, stay curious, stay turned on, and never apologize for wanting more. We'll see you next time.
This has been the Purple Passion Project with host Dr. Stacey Friedman. Tune in each week as Dr. Stacey breaks down walls, busting myths, and gives you permission to want more with no shame, no filters, and definitely no small talk. Check in every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, on your favorite streaming platforms. We look forward to seeing you next time. Be sure to visit drstaceyfriedman.com to learn more.